The cabin rattled so hard the metal seemed alive, every vibration cutting through bone, a brutal reminder they were thousands of feet above the ground. The rescue helicopter bucked against the storm, pitching left, then jerking right, as though some invisible force wanted to tear it apart. The pilots shouted over the intercom, their voices barely audible through the roar of the rotors and the rush of air slamming against the fuselage. Nurse Rebecca Miller clutched the stretcher rails, her knuckles drained of color. The smell of recycled air mixed with antiseptic could not mask the scent of fear that clung to the crew. The patient moaned, half-conscious, his mask slipping as the helicopter tilted again. Rebecca tightened the straps, stomach twisting with each sudden drop. She had flown dozens of missions, crashes, mountain rescues, cardiac transfers, but never turbulence like this. Warning alarms shrieked, red lights blinking like heartbeats. She tried to pray but couldn't find words. Her throat locked, her heart pounded too loud. The co-pilot's hand trembled on the controls, the captain barked orders in clipped tones, but when his eyes met hers, she saw the truth. He was losing control. The cabin lights flickered, plunging them into half-darkness. A medic muttered a curse. Another whispered, "God help us." And then Rebecca saw it. Through the blur of blades and storm clouds, a figure appeared, faint but steady. Human-shaped, clothed in a plain robe that rippled in the wind, glowing softly against the storm. Not blinding, not unreal, just there. Calm pierced her terror. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Jesus!" The rotors groaned, alarms screamed, but inside her something shifted. Panic slowed. A fragile steadiness took root. She didn't tell the others, afraid they'd think she'd cracked, but clung to it. The helicopter jolted so hard her teeth clacked. The patient's monitor shrieked jagged beeps. Rebecca braced, adjusting the oxygen mask, tightening the IV. Her body shook with each violent roll, but her eyes kept flicking back to the window. The glowing figure remained, unshaken in the storm. Captain Harris's voice thundered, "We're losing stability. Brace." The helicopter tilted nose down. Rebecca's helmet slammed against the seat, her stomach lurched. Someone screamed. Sweat dripped into her eyes. The smell of burnt wiring seeped into the cabin. She whispered, desperate, "Please, God, please don't let us fall." The glow didn't vanish. His face, blurred by light, but calm, radiated from him. Rebecca's trembling slowed. "Rebecca," the medic shouted. "You good?" She nodded quickly. "I'm fine. Hold the line steady." Then, softly to the patient, "You're not alone." The radio crackled through static. "Rescue 2, say souls on board." Harris answered, "4 crew, 1 patient, 5 souls." The words landed like a weight. Rebecca gripped the stretcher tighter, the phrase echoing in her chest. Lightning split the clouds. The patient's pulse fluttered weakly. She whispered again, "We're not alone." The intercom cracked. "Controls aren't responding," David shouted. Sparks of fear rippled through the crew. Rebecca had faced bleeding, broken bodies, but never this. Death coming for them all at once. She forced herself to breathe, words tumbling in prayer, though she hadn't prayed in years. "Please, God, keep us steady." Her eyes found the window again. The man was still there. The glow cut through rain and darkness. His expression, serene, unwavering, seemed fixed on her, and something inside her stilled. "Rebecca," Tom called. She realized her hands were steady now on the straps. She swallowed, nodded. "I'm fine." The turbulence roared again, bolts rattling loose, alarms piercing their ears. Rebecca leaned close to the patient. "None of us are alone." Because she knew someone was outside that helicopter, pacing them through the storm. Wind clawed at the fuselage. Martin Kay, mid-50s, his name tag peeling. Chest rose shallow under the straps. Rebecca kept one hand firm on his sternum, watching the monitor's erratic blips. "Power at 90, David shouted. "But yours gone. I can't fix it." "Ride it out," Harris growled, eyes locked on the failing instruments. The storm pressed harder. Red seatbelt lights strobing painted their faces like masks. Tom braced the IV, silent, jaw clenched. Rebecca's gaze slid back to the glow, still there, untouched by wind or lightning, not illusion, not reflection. Calm spread through her chest like a hand resting firm on her shoulder. She leaned to Tom. "Look left, do you see anything?" He squinted through the blur. "Clouds, maybe reflection. Forget it." He clipped the line back into place, shaking his head. Rebecca didn't press. Fear narrowed the world, but hers had widened. Ground control crackled. "Severe convective cells ahead. Recommend divert." "Unable," Harris barked. "Controls unstable. Holding 3-5. Rebecca pictured the ground. Below, interstate lights, farmhouses, people cooking late dinners. Ordinary life continuing while their box of aluminum fought to exist. She whispered to Martin, "You're not alone." The helicopter dipped again, warning tones blaring. David's hands shook on the trim. Harris fought the throttle. The rotor thudded heavy, each beat rattling her ribs. The man outside was steady, light, unbroken. Rebecca thought of Sundays long past, pews and prayers she had abandoned when loss piled too high. Her lips moved again, plain words of need. "If this is you, give us steadiness." The violent spin eased just slightly, not gone, but less. "1 inch of mercy," she whispered. "Hold that," Harris ordered. "Copy," David answered, voice raw. Tom's eyes darted. "You praying?" "Yeah, you want to join?" He hesitated, then muttered, "Fine. Keep it simple." "We don't have time for anything else," she said, whispering, "God, keep us straight. Keep Martin breathing. Keep our pilots clear." The radio hissed. "Rescue. 2 say souls on board." 5 souls, Harris repeated. Rebecca's chest tightened. She looked outside. The figure held steady, aligning with their drift, as if guiding. She couldn't prove it, but her fear had walls now, and steadiness beneath. "If we set down hard, you call it for the patient, you good?" Harris asked. "I'm good," Rebecca said, and meant it. Not safe, not certain, but good. Lightning strobed, the cabin lit stark white, then plunged back to dark. Rebecca pressed her hand to Martin's chest. His pulse fluttered faint. "Stay with me." Her father's words echoed. "Faith is a rope. You don't see where it ties off, but you grab it when you're falling." She grabbed tight. The helicopter dropped hard, syringes spilling across the floor. Rebecca pinned the patient's mask, whispering fiercely, "You're not alone." "Mayday! Mayday! Rescue 2 declaring emergency," Harris roared. Ground answered calm. "Radar shows open fields south. Nearest open area, County Fairgrounds, 2 miles. Southwest." "Negative, still in cloud," Harris spat. Rebecca pressed her forehead to Martin's shoulder. "We're not alone. None of us are." She lifted her head. The glow remained, and for the first time, David wasn't hiding it. His eyes locked to the same point, mouth open. The storm raged, alarms screamed, but inside Rebecca, steadiness held like steel. "Ground lights!" David shouted. Through rain-smeared glass, faint headlights pierced the dark. "Sheriff units, the fairgrounds." "Okay," Harris said low, taut. "We're going in." Rebecca squeezed the bag valve, lips whispering, "Keep us steady." The helicopter tilted downward, storm clawing above, lights waiting below, the glowing presence keeping pace. The fairgrounds spread below, headlights outlining mud and bleachers. Not a helipad, but a place. "Winds gusting 40, Ground warned. "Copy," Harris said flat. "Into it." Rebecca squeezed the bag, counting. Martin's sats climbed, 91, 93. Each rise of his chest a fragile defiance. A downdraft slammed them, rotor thumping like a hammer. Harris corrected, muscles taut. The helicopter slid sideways. "Left pedal!" David cried. "Got it," Harris answered. The glow held left, steady as a marker. David swallowed hard. "Captain, left side looks like a guide." "Not now," Harris snapped, but his eyes flicked once to the window. Rebecca didn't need proof. She already knew. She clung to the stretcher, to the patient, to the rope of faith. The storm raged, but she whispered, firmly, "We're going left." And they did. The cabin rattled so hard the metal seemed alive, every vibration cutting through bone, a brutal reminder they were thousands of feet above the earth. The rescue helicopter pitched and rolled as though the storm itself wanted to rip it apart. The pilots shouted, their words drowned in the roar of rotors and wind slamming against thin walls. Nurse Rebecca Miller clutched the stretcher rails, her knuckles drained of color. The antiseptic smell could not mask the sweat and fear inside the cabin. The patient moaned, his mask slipping as the helicopter jolted. Rebecca tightened the straps, stomach twisting with every violent drop. She had flown many missions, but nothing like this. Warning alarms shrieked, red lights flashed like heartbeats. She tried to pray, but words stuck in her throat. The co-pilot's hand trembled on the controls, the captain barked clipped commands, but when his eyes met hers, fear was plain. The lights flickered, plunging them into dim half-darkness. A medic muttered a curse. Another whispered, "God help us." And then Rebecca saw it. Through the blur of blades and storm clouds, a faint, glowing figure hovered. Human-shaped, clothed in a robe, steady against the raging sky. Not blinding, not unreal, just there. Calm pierced her terror. Her lips moved. Jesus. Inside her, something steadied. Panic slowed. She said nothing, afraid they'd think she'd cracked, but clung to the sight. The helicopter jolted. Alarms. Screamed, the monitor wailed. Rebecca adjusted the mask, checked the IV, braced herself. Every time she looked back, the glowing figure was still there. "Brace!" Captain Harris barked. The helicopter tilted nose down. Rebecca's helmet slammed back, sweat stung her eyes. Burned wiring filled the air. She whispered, "Please, God, don't let us fall." The glow remained. His gaze seemed to meet hers, and her trembling slowed. "You good?" Tom shouted. "I'm fine," she forced out, then whispered to the patient, "You're not alone." The radio crackled. "Rescue 2 say souls on board." 4 crew, 1 patient, 5 souls, Harris answered. The words struck hard. Lightning split the clouds. The patient's pulse fluttered. Rebecca leaned close. "We're not alone." David stole glances out the window too, lips parted. "Controls aren't responding." Sparks of fear rippled through the crew. Rebecca had trained for trauma, not death for all. She forced herself to breathe, praying words she hadn't spoken in years. Her eyes found the window again. The glow cut through storm and blur. Peaceful. Steady. Her hands stopped shaking. The turbulence rattled bolts loose. Alarms pierced their ears. Rebecca leaned close to Martin. "None of us are alone." She knew someone was outside, pacing them through the storm. Wind clawed at the fuselage. Martin's chest rose shallow. His monitor beeped unevenly. Rebecca pressed a palm firm to his sternum, counting each breath. "Power at 90, David shouted. "Yours. Gone, I can't fix it." "Ride it out," Harris growled, muscles straining. The red light strobed, faces turned into masks. Tom braced the IV pole. Rebecca's eyes slid back to the glow, still there, not illusion. Calm spread through her chest like a hand on her shoulder. "Look left," she urged Tom. He squinted. "Clouds. Reflection. Forget it." Rebecca didn't argue. Fear narrowed vision. Hers had widened. Ground control crackled. "Cells ahead. Recommend divert." "Unable," Harris barked. Rebecca pictured lights below, people in homes unaware of the storm above. She whispered to Martin, "You're not alone." The helicopter dipped again, alarms blared. Harris fought controls. David's hands shook. The rotor thudded heavy. Outside, the figure hovered steady. Rebecca thought of Sundays she'd abandoned, of prayers left unanswered. But now, plain words left her lips. "If this is you, steady us." The violent spin eased just slightly. "1 inch of mercy," she whispered. "Hold that pocket," Harris E. ordered. "Copy," David said. Tom asked, "You praying?" "Yeah." "You want to join?" He muttered. "Fine. Keep it simple. We don't have time for anything else. God, keep us straight. Keep Martin breathing. Keep our pilots clear." "Rescue 2. Say souls on board." 5 souls, Harris repeated. Rebecca looked outside. The figure held steady, aligning with their drift, guiding them. Fear inside her had walls now. "If we set down hard, you call it for the patient." "You good?" Harris asked. "I'm good." Rebecca answered and meant it. Lightning strobed. Rebecca pressed her hand to Martin's chest. His pulse fluttered. "Stay with me." Her father's words echoed, "Faith is a rope. You don't see where it ties off, but you grab it when you're falling." She grabbed tighter. The helicopter dropped, syringes clattered. Rebecca held Martin's straps. "Stay with us." "Mayday! Mayday!" Harris roared. Ground answered calm. "Fields 2 miles southwest. County Fairgrounds." "Negative! Still in cloud!" Rebecca pressed her forehead to Martin's shoulder. "We're not alone." She lifted her head. The glow was still there. David's eyes fixed on it now, too. The storm raged, alarms screamed, but steel steadiness held inside Rebecca. "Ground lights!" David shouted. Sheriff units appeared through rain. "Okay," Harris said, voice taut. "We're going in." Rebecca squeezed the bag valve. "Keep us steady." The helicopter tilted down, storm clawing above, headlights waiting below, the glowing presence keeping pace. The fairgrounds spread below, mud and bleachers lit by headlights. Not a pad, but ground. "Winds gusting 40, Ground warned. "Copy," Harris said flat. "Into it." Martin's sats climbed, 91, 93. Each breath felt like defiance. A downdraft slammed them. The rotor thumped like a hammer. Harris corrected, jaw clenched. "Left pedal," David cried. "Got it," Harris answered. The glow stayed left. David swallowed. Like a marker. Harris's eyes flicked once to the window. Rebecca didn't need proof. She already knew. She whispered, "We're going left." And they did. "Sheriff units, we'll hold lights steady. You're drifting east." "Roger. Correcting," Harris said. Rebecca looked through the narrow window. The glow held at 1 o'clock, steady like a lighthouse. Her body called it impossible. Her gut called it help. Tom cinched a strap tighter. "If we bounce, he stays with us." "Braced," Rebecca answered, planting her boots. "Martin, stay with me." 50 feet, David called. A cushion of pressure steadied the cabin. The sheriff's trucks brightened, beams shifting as they crabbed into wind. Rain hammered. The skid light lit puddles, ruts, torn grass. "Tails twitchy," Harris warned. "Run on if mud grabs." "Copy." "Winds backing west, gusts 4-3, Ground said. The nose yanked right. The helicopter skated sideways. Alarms shrieked. "Hold it," Harris commanded, muscles taut. The rotor note deepened. He eased inputs, balancing on a knife's edge. 30 feet, David whispered. Rebecca's throat burned. "Steady, Lord, steady." She didn't look for the glow. She felt it. A burst of wind yawed them hard. The horizon vanished. "Go around?" David asked. "Negative. Commit," Harris said. "Commit." Rebecca locked her knees, gripped the bag, rode the drop. "Skids," David breathed. They were down. Sliding, catching, sliding again. Harris fought pedals, easing into line. Rain sheets blew sideways. Sheriff headlights wavered. "Hold her," Harris growled. The left skid sank, the cabin tilted. Tools clanged. Martin jerked. Rebecca shielded him, leaning opposite. "Power a touch," David urged. "Just a touch." Harris eased collective. The mud let go 1 inch. The tilt eased. "Ease. There." They settled. Tilt remained, but the slide stopped. Rotors beat angry, then calmed. Rebecca realized she was crying. She blinked, checked the monitor. 96%. Heart rate slower. She wiped her cheek. "Rescue 2. We show you down at the fairgrounds. A firm down, Harris said. Deputies approached with a gaiter for transport. Rebecca looked back once. The glow still lingered beyond the blades. For one heartbeat, she thought she saw a hand raised, then rain blurred it away. She touched Martin's shoulder. We made ground. Tom let out a broken laugh. Yeah, we did. Engines idled. The storm howled. But 5 souls still breathed. Shutting down, Harris said. You sure? David asked. She won't stay light in mud. Safer to kill power. The rotor slowed, pounding, fading to pulse. Rain hammered. Rebecca unclipped, still bagging Martin. 96, 95, steady, fragile. Patient stable enough, Tom checked. We need him in the ambulance. Rebecca nodded, guiding straps. Deputies dragged the stretcher through sludge toward flashing lights. Rebecca ran beside them, soaked to the bone, bagging air into Martin's lungs. At the ambulance, she climbed in, never breaking rhythm. Tom slammed doors. The monitor beeped, thin but holding. Rebecca whispered to Martin, "You're not alone." Through rain-streaked glass, she glimpsed one last flicker of glow over the field. Then it was gone. The ambulance lurched. Rebecca kept bagging, steady, unbroken. For the first time since liftoff, she let herself believe they might make it. At the hospital bay, doors burst open. Nurses and techs swarmed, pulling Martin inside. Rebecca bagged until the trauma team took over. Her arms dropped heavy, legs trembling. She leaned against the wall, helmet dripping. Tom rubbed his suit, voice cracked. We lived. Harris and David stumbled in, mud-streaked, pale. Harris's eyes were bloodshot, but calm. Patient stable? Rebecca nodded. Still fighting. David slid down the wall, face in hands. His voice muffled. I saw him. Harris frowned. What? David lifted his head. A man. Glowing. Silence fell. Tom froze, eyes darting. Rebecca's heart pounded. She stepped forward quietly. I saw him too. Tom exhaled long. God help us. Harris folded arms. Stress makes people see things. Rebecca shook her head. Stress doesn't make calm in chaos, that's what I felt. David nodded. Same. Before more could be said, a nurse called, He's holding. Pulse strong, sats up. Relief rippled through them. Harris's mask cracked slightly. They sat later in a quiet room. Tom muttered, Not in the report. Just luck. David snapped. Luck. We should have flipped. Stress, Tom argued. Rebecca leaned forward. Don't tell me I imagined it, Harris said calmly. No visions in paperwork. We report turbulence, emergency landing, that's it. David's voice rose. So we bury it. We keep flying, Harris said firmly. Rebecca asked softly, What about between us? Tom paced. If it was real, why us? She had no answer, only the memory burning inside. Later, unable to sleep, she sat in the on-call room, arms aching with phantom rhythm of the bag valve. David knocked, brought coffee. I know what I saw, he said. So do I, she whispered. Then maybe it was, just for us, she added, to remind us we weren't alone. He nodded. I felt carried. Me too. Elsewhere, Tom sat in the chapel, whispering, Why now? Why not then? No answer came, but he couldn't deny the shimmer he'd glimpsed. Harris stood alone in a closet, gripping a shelf. By every rule, they shouldn't have lived. He closed his eyes. The glow returned in memory. He whispered words, long buried. God, don't let me forget. Near dawn, Rebecca sat in Martin's ICU room. His chest rose. Steadily with the ventilator, she rested her hand on his arm. You held on. Her voice trembled. Why us? No answer but the certainty. You weren't alone. Martin stirred. His lips formed one faint word. Jesus. Tears filled her eyes. Yes, he was there. By morning, the crew stood in the bay, gear stacked small against the night's weight. Harris reported the bird grounded, Ops would debrief tomorrow. Silence hung between them. David muttered, "So we just erase it." "Protect the crew," Harris said. Rebecca whispered, "We know what happened, that's enough." Tom's voice cracked. "I can't explain it away, but maybe I saw something too." The van came. As they left, Rebecca looked back once. For a moment, a shimmer broke the clouds. Then it was gone. In the van, silence. Each carried the same unspoken truth. Rebecca closed her eyes and whispered, "We weren't alone." At the base, they stared at the battered helicopter. Tom said quietly, "She shouldn't have held." "Neither should we," David answered. Later, in the break room, Tom admitted softly, "I can't explain it, but I can't forget it." Rebecca said, "You don't have to explain it. Just remember." Harris passed the doorway, lips moving like a prayer he'd never admit. Rebecca closed her eyes, whispering, "Thank you." The clouds broke slightly, a thin line of light stretching across the horizon. Not dramatic, not proof for the world, but enough. They hadn't been alone. Not in the storm, not in the fall, not now. And she would not forget.